Okay, so this little mini video is about a particular property. It's called the zero product property. And this is basically the most important thing for solving equations in algebra. We're going to use this every single problem most likely for the rest of the semester. And so I just want to do a quick little bite-sized type video to remind us of this. So what the zero product property says is if a product of two or more numbers equals 0, then at least one of those numbers is equal to 0. So this sounds relatively simple, but this is, like I said, one of the most important properties that we have in mathematics, and we use it every single problem essentially that we solve things. So what this is really saying is, let's say if we have x, y equals 0, then we know that x equals 0 or y equals 0, because 0 is the only number that when you multiply by anything, it equals itself. So just a couple examples of how we use this, and we'll link this back into our factoring review that we just finished up in the last couple videos. So we are going to solve now, no longer factor. X squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. So now we're solving an equation. So I look at this trinomial, and I see I have a perfect square here and here. I have x squared and I have 2 squared. So I'm thinking perfect square trinomial. It's not going to be difference of squares because there's too many terms and there's no minus sign. It's not going to be sum or difference of cubes because there's no cubes. So I'm thinking perfect square trinomial. If that doesn't work, then we'll go back to the regular factoring. So x squared and 2 squared, does 4x equal 2 times 2x? Yes, it does. So this is x plus 2 quantity squared equals 0. And this means that x plus 2 times x plus 2 equals 0. This is where our zero product property kicks in. I have two numbers. Yes, they're the same, but that doesn't matter. And that multiplied together equals 0. That means x plus 2 equals 0. Or x plus 2 equals 0. In this case, that's the same thing, so we don't need to solve it twice. But that is what the zero product property states. And so x equals -2 is our answer. Let's take a look at another one real quick. So let's solve -3x squared plus 72 equals -6x. So to solve this, to be able to factor it, we want to move our -6x. So we're going to add 6x and add 6x. And we have -3x squared plus 6x plus 72. Now remember, we have numbers here, so we want to first look to factor GCF. We can, at the very least, take away a negative. So, and this is now equal to 0. So let's factor a -3 out of this. So we get x squared. 6 divided by -3 is -2. 72 divided by -3 is -24. Equals 0. So there are two things we can think about here. We can divide this whole equation by -3 because we do have a multiplication. Or again, we can use the zero product property that says that either -3 equals 0 or x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. Obviously, -3 is not equal to 0. So a lot of times you'll see people just divide out by -3. And we'll get x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. So now we want to be thinking, can we factor this? I don't have a perfect square here in 24, so that means I'm thinking of factors of 24 that add up to negative 2. And the only factors of 24 are 3 and 8, 2 and 12, and 4 and 6. And of course 1 and 24, but those are not going to be bigger. So when we're thinking about what our factors are, we need it to add to negative 2, so we know one of these or both need to be negative. And there's only one pair here that has a difference of 2 between them, and that's 4 and 6 right here. And so if I want it to be negative, 6 needs to be the negative number because negative 6 plus 4 gives us negative 2. So I have x, since a is 1, I can use the shortcut and just take 4 and negative 6 and do x negative 6, x plus 4 equals 0. Our zero product property says that x minus 6 equals 0, or x plus 4 equals 0. And so x equals positive 6, or x equals negative 4. Both of these are our answers. So that's the zero product property, just a quick little refresher, but it's going to be very important. You're going to use it, like I said, just about every single problem that we do in this class will be based on this when we solve equations.